What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing a mock draft of the 2020 NFL Draft, which will be taking place this coming Thursday. This is a one-round mock draft with no trades. For the draft, each person got 8 picks in the first round and then made selections based on the prospects that were offered. And without much further ado, let's go ahead on to the first pick. The first overall pick will be the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Joe Burrow, the quarterback out of LSU. He is an excellent quarterback talent, very mobile, has a great deep ball, 202 passer rating of last year, Heisman winner. Just a lot of talent that will be used greatly for the Bengals. Personally, I'm not sure how well he's going to play next year in a pretty good AFC North division, but he's definitely got a lot of talent that will be useful in the years to come.
With the number 2 pick in this mock draft, the Washington Redskins select Chase Young out of Ohio State. It's a pretty simple pick. He's the best defensive player that the draft has seen in quite a long time. He's a once-in-a-decade player. He has the athleticism, he has the size, he has the speed. Most of the defensive coaches have struggled to find ways to stop him. It's a pretty simple pick for the Redskins. I personally believe that they could trade out this pick, but when you have one of the best defensive players in over a decade, it's hard to pass him up.
With the third pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Jeffrey Okudah, cornerback, Ohio State University. Okudah's elite ability to play with both his eyes in the backfield and his back to the ball comes from his extremely quick eyes, his balanced base, and his insane reactionary athleticism. Okudah is never out of position and regularly creates diversions to the quarterback and creates opportunities to attack the football because of his elite range of motion. He has tremendous short area quickness and unreal length, which boost his tackle radius when he's completing cut tackles.
With the fourth pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Giants select Jeudy, a wide receiver out of Alabama. I think this is a good fit for the Giants because they have a quarterback and a running back, and with trading Odell Beckham Jr., they need a wide receiver that Daniel Jones can throw to.
With the 5th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins will be selecting a quarterback out of Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa, in our mock draft. Now, Tagovailoa is an excellent prospect, very high ceiling, very talented. He's an excellent passer. He's got a great arm and very, very precise and accurate when he throws the ball. However, Tagovailoa is listed as a very high-risk prospect because of his injury history, since he's had an ankle surgery as well as a bad hip injury following a game last season. However, his high ceiling makes him a very, very good choice for the Miami Dolphins, which is why I have him being taken at number 5.
With the number 6 overall pick in this mock draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Justin Herbert, quarterback out of Oregon. I personally believe that Tua is the Chargers guy, but the Dolphins took him, and obviously this is a no-trade mock draft. So the Chargers go with Justin Herbert because Tyrod Taylor is not a long-term option at quarterback, and Justin Herbert, he's big, he's talented, and he has a very high ceiling. So he gives a lot to work with. Sometimes during pressure, he can reveal his flaws, but this is a good pick for the Los Angeles Chargers.
With the 7th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Isaiah Simmons, athlete, Clemson. Simmons was beyond productive this year for the Tigers, as he can play anywhere on the defensive side of the field. He is a hybrid athlete who is a very unique prospect in draft history, really. He has the ability to play safety, linebacker, and even an interior defensive lineman position. He moves like a small defensive back, but his size and quickness is unmatched in any direction.
With the 8th pick of the 2020 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Derek Brown out of Auburn. I think that the Cardinals needed offensive tackle because they lost Chris Jones, and so their defensive line is slacking, and they need a big boy to be able to bring down the quarterback.
Picking at 9 in our mock draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars will be selecting offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs, and the reason I have them doing this is because personally I think Tristan Wirfs at this point falling to number 9 is the most talented prospect in the draft at this point, and the Jaguars have a lot of problems that they need to fix. So I think this is a case that they can just take the most talented player off the board here, and they are definitely getting a very good prospect out of Tristan Wirfs that will be used very well in the years to come.
With the 10th pick in this mock draft, the Cleveland Browns select Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle out of Louisville. He is crazily athletic. He's 6'7", weighs 364 pounds, has a 7-foot wingspan, and yet still can run a 5.1 40-yard dash. He is everything you'd want stature-wise from a offensive tackle. Yeah, the Browns really need a lot of holes to fill, and starting off with an offensive tackle to protect both Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb is the Browns' go-to.
With the 11th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver, Oklahoma. Lamb had 1,327 receiving yards last year, which ranked 6th in the nation. Along that, he had 14 receiving touchdowns, which ranked 5th nationally, only behind Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Omar Bayless, and James Proche. Lamb had 21.4 yards per reception, which was 3rd due to his lack of reception total, which was only 62. I love his feet at the line of scrimmage. He'll produce false steps to beat the corners that faced him at the line. He has terrific hands and the needed strength to squeeze the ball with his fingertips to make the catch. He also shows excellent open field vision to break an angle across the grass and gallop into the open field for touchdown.
With the 12th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Raiders select C.J. Henderson out of Florida. I feel that the Raiders need defensive players, and their secondary needs a lot of work, so bringing a cornerback would really help them.
With the 13th pick in our mock draft, the 49ers will be selecting Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina. He is a defensive tackle, and I think he will be great to shore up that defensive line, which is already very threatening for the 49ers, but the absence of DeForest Buckner from the line next year will create kind of a hole that I think Kinlaw will be a perfect asset to fill and take his place.
With the 14th overall pick in this mock draft, the Buccaneers select Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle out of Georgia. In my opinion, he's the best player available at this point. With Tom Brady, you want to protect him as he is definitely not a young quarterback. So Andrew Thomas is just a guy. I've seen many people mock him into the top 10. However, as he's dropped to 14, this is the best option for the Bucs moving forward.
With the 15th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Henry Ruggs III, wide receiver out of Alabama. His effortless speed through route breaks of all angles presents his ability in both the quick game with the slant route, the intermediate game with the over-the-middle throws, or his vertical impact with the go route. He is so smooth with the gas pedal and stacks like you wouldn't believe. He has easy speed and good tracking skills. You have to be super physical, super fast, or just bracket him in covers to contain his ability to create open targets. His 40-yard dash time for the combine was 4.27, which was only 0.05 seconds off of John Ross's record of 4.22. He is going to be really good for the Broncos.
At the number 16 pick in the first round of our mock draft, the Atlanta Falcons will be selecting edge from LSU, K'Lavon Chaisson. Chason was a member of the national championship team from last year. He had a total of 60 tackles, 34 solo tackles in just 2019. 6'3", 254 pounds. He's a very formidable force on that defensive line. The Falcons could definitely use some upfront help on their defense, and I think Chason would be a perfect fit. With the 17th pick in our mock draft, the Dallas Cowboys will be selecting offensive tackle out of Alabama, Jedrick Wills Jr. Wills is a very, very talented and big offensive tackle who's actually pretty light on his feet, so he is definitely very good at maintaining space in the line for quarterbacks like Dak Prescott. The Cowboys line has been getting progressively worse recently, and I think it would be great for the Cowboys to infuse the line with some youth and talent, which Jedrick Wills will be a perfect fit for them.
With the 18th pick in this mock draft, the Miami Dolphins select Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama. This is not the sexiest pick in the world, but safety is a need. Overall, the Dolphins need to bolster their secondary. It is very weak. They have the 30th overall defense rating in efficiency, and Rashad Jones is not the solution. So if you add Xavier McKinney, who's had both production and athleticism, it could solve a lot of the Miami Dolphins' defensive issues.
With the 19th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Grant Delpit, safety, Louisiana State University. When Delpit triggers from center field and into the flats, he's routinely beating teammates to the football. He is aided by his quick processing power, but he's also got the kind of true deep middle range and burst and juice to be an impact player in the league immediately. He shows good ball tracking skills in vertical reps and does well to flip, open, and attack the football. He's better when he can hunt or prowl, but should be considered a viable slot defender or matchup defender with tight ends because of his length and size.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Jordan Love, a quarterback out of Utah State. I think that the Jaguars need to bring in a young quarterback so that Jordan Love and Gardner Minshew can try to battle it out and compete for the winning starting job.
In the 21st overall pick in our mock draft, Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver out of LSU, will be selected by the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we know the Eagles have had some depth issues in the wide receiver position last season, especially with injuries and stuff. So now, Justin Jefferson will be able to come in for the Eagles and infuse some youth and speed into their wide receiver core.
With the 22nd overall pick in this mock draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Jeff Gladney, cornerback out of TCU. And while choosing a wide receiver may seem appealing, after Justin Jefferson, there's not many wide receivers that deserve to go in the top 25. You could argue for Denzel Mims, but I just don't see it with the Vikings. They really need to address their secondary, as Mike Hughes and Chris Boyd are their starting cornerback duo, which is definitely not what a playoff team will want at all.
With the 23rd pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Denzel Mims, wide receiver, Baylor. Due to my bold prediction of the Patriots signing Cam Newton in this free agency, I have chosen a wide receiver in the first round for the Patriots. Mims has got really plucky hands and an impressive catch radius and consistently is snatching the ball away from defensive backs. His ability to erase inaccurate throws is notable both along the sideline and when his passer misses high. He is really effective in scenarios where he's able to box out defenders and put his frame between the ball and the defender.
With the 24th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Yetur Gross-Matos, a edge out of Penn State. I feel like the Saints need a edge person to go along with Cam Jordan to boost up that defensive line.
Defense is apparently one of the top priorities for the Minnesota Vikings in this draft, which is why at the 25th pick of the first round of our mock draft, I have them drafting defensive end A.J. Epinesa out of Iowa. He is a big yet mobile defensive end, which will really shore up the Vikings' front seven, especially due to a lot of departures, making it a little bit weaker.
With the 26th overall pick in this mock draft, the Miami Dolphins select DeAndre Swift, running back out of Georgia. The Miami Dolphins have already addressed their quarterback issues and their secondary issues, and running back is a large hole for them. DeAndre Swift has had amazing athleticism. His height, he is sort of short. However, his production makes up for it. The Miami Dolphins are ecstatic to get a running back, as they were no good offensive line prospects up on the board.
With the 27th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Josh Jones, offensive tackle, Houston. It is pretty awesome to watch him pull off the backside of runs or release and scrape across the second level to pick up screens on the far side of the field. He has the athletic tools that he can fall back on in case of emergencies, and he will outclass rushers on the edge because of how quick he can flip his hips and run. He's well built and dense in the right spots to illustrate desirable functional strength. He's actually got a really nice snatch move to dispatch off rushers around the outside. His hand activity is strong and persistent to work for an inside fit. His initial punch can be ineffective or late on occasions, but his recovery effort is really solid.
With the 28th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Kenneth Murray, a linebacker out of Oklahoma. With the loss of C.J. Mosley and two other key linebackers, the Ravens are desperate for some help at the linebacker position, and that's why Kenneth Murray will be a perfect fit for them.
With the 29th pick in the first round of our mock draft, the Titans will be selecting A.J. Terrell out of Clemson. He's a cornerback, and I think the Titans really need some help in their secondary, and I think A.J. Terrell, especially him being very fast, will be able to help them a lot there. He had an excellent 3-year college career with Clemson with 20 passes defensed and 6 interceptions, which is why I think he will be very successful with going to the Titans.
With the 30th overall pick in this mock draft, the Green Bay Packers select Patrick Queen, linebacker out of LSU. The Packers are happy to get one of the top 3 linebackers in this draft. Patrick Queen has shown production. While he may be undersized, he makes up for it with athleticism. He is excellent in pass coverage, and pairing him up with Christian Kirksey could bring the Packers to the Super Bowl.
The 31st pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Christian Fulton, cornerback, Louisiana State University. I love Fulton's patience at the line of scrimmage and transitions well with his persistent length to squeeze and filter route releases to stay on the receivers' bodies. He'll overrun hard comeback routes just a tad, but his work and trail is really nice. His footwork at the line of scrimmage is also really clean. I appreciate his cadence to stay square while receivers attack their release.
With the 32nd pick of the 2020 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Jonathan Taylor, a running back out of Wisconsin. The Chiefs have such a great offense, but that's all passing game with Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Travis Kelce. If they add a back to that offense, no teams would expect what's coming next.
And that concludes the first mock draft of the channel. So I think another mock draft is going to be coming out later this week. So stay tuned for that. Also stay tuned for other content about anything related to sports. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave your reaction to our mock draft in the comment section below. Thanks again.